Welcome back, everyone, here to East Texas Now. I hope y'all are having a fantastic afternoon. We are now going to go ahead and take you guys over here to an interview that we do have right now with an actor you may or may not recognize. And I hope you do, because some of my favorite shows are written by Taylor Sheridan. And today we have the honor of speaking with Mr. Larry Wells. Let's go ahead and kind of chat with him a little bit. Welcome in, Larry.
Thank you, Kylie. It's a pleasure to be here.
Of course. It's so nice to have you. So let's talk about, obviously, a few of my favorite shows. It could be yours, too. But tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I grew up here in Texas, grew up in Coppell, and, just worked hard. Always been mostly self-employed, kind of an entrepreneurial attitude, according to my son. But never really wanted to work for anybody, just work for myself. And long story short, I started a gate automation company, really out of necessity. I was building homes at the time and I found people that could install them but couldn't work on them, and so I'm pretty handy, and I started working on them, and it just evolved into a really unique career. It's a niche market. Very few people know how to do what I do. Taught my son, and so anyway, did that and still currently own it. My son runs it now, but semi-retired about 5 or 6 years ago, and being a regular shopper at Tractor Supply and buying my horse feed there and welding supplies and that sort of thing, I get a call from an agent one day and said, Tractor Supply would like for you to be in a video. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. But long story short, I learned that Tractor Supply loves to have real people, real customers in their videos and their commercials. And long story short, I did one, they liked it, and I'll be darned if they didn't have me start doing their print ads for their men's clothing line, Ridge Cut. And here I am in my mid 60s, 64, and I looked at myself, and I am, doing print ads, and by the second or so commercial I did for them, they kept saying, you need to be doing voiceover. Well, long story short, that same agent had said, there's a Western in Fort Worth you need to be a part of. And so I reached out, made a few phone calls, and lo and behold, they offered me to be Sam Elliott's traveling stand-in. Well, I own a business. I said, guys, I'm humbled. I can't be gone for 5 months. And they said, we have one deputy role left. I said, I'll take it. Darn if it's not a featured role with Billy Bob Thornton. And so, being green and new to the game, I was a little overwhelmed, to say the least. Had a few of those aha moments where I look around and here I am rubbing elbows with Sam Elliott, Tim McGraw, Billy Bob Thornton, and I'm like, how in the world did I get here?
I know, right?
Yeah.
And for most of you that don't know, he spent most of his life in business, is kind of found a new home in entertainment, like he's kind of talking about right now. And this is for the Paramount Plus series, 1883 and 1923. Kind of what you're talking about there is how many people that he was surrounded by, and I mean, how was it being on set with them?
Overwhelming, to say the least, other than the fact that they're people like us. I tell people one of the best moments I had between takes, Sam Elliott and I got to sit on a park bench between takes and spend about 30 minutes just talking about life and talking about his life and my life. And, for him to pat me on the back and say, let's go finish this, I'm like, wow, it's something I'll never forget.
It's actually really cool, too, because, some people just see him on screen. They don't get to see him off screen. So you did. You got to do both.
He's exactly what you think he is. He's laid back. He's genuine. He's real. And so I've been very lucky. I think I tell people the stars aligned. And 15 years ago, I worked for the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, and I met Mr. Buck Taylor, a legend, Western actor. And that opened a door for me to meet Mr. Barry Corbin, also a legend, an actor. And so for the last 5 years, I have worked with them on the Stock Show Parade every year. And through Barry, I've met so many people, and it's just been a wild ride, Kylie. It's just been incredible. And I wouldn't take anything for the experiences I've had.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I believe it. Let's talk about how you were discovered and kind of the background and history of when you were growing up. Did you have any interest in entertainment when you were growing up?
Yeah, I was a typical kid in high school. Grew up in a small country school there in Coppell, and we had a drama class, and we went to state and competition. I was always interested. Now, I have a twin brother who happens to be with me today. we were asked to audition years ago, maybe in our late teens, for a Double Mint commercial. You know, uh, they wanted us to shave our mustaches, and we're like, no, we won't do that. So anyway, I've always had an interest in it. Never dreamed I'd be doing it, but now that I'm in it, I love it.
All right, well, let's talk about some more of the roles in the spinoff series, 1883 and 1923. If you had to pick out, a few of the scenes, or maybe even a scene that you're in that's your favorite, which one would you say?
I would say probably the funnest scene was when we all go down, we march down the street to the White Elephant, and Billy Bob goes in and takes care of business, the bad guys. That was probably my favorite scene, and the second one's probably when Tim's getting deputized and we're in the marshal's office, and I got to see the behind the scenes in between takes where Tim's throwing bad Santa jokes at Billy Bob, and Billy Bob's at his desk.
Yeah.
Those are things you don't see or hear, and getting to be a part of that and getting to literally be included in that, and the high fives and the shaking hands and great job, you don't see the behind the scenes, and getting to be a part of that's probably been my favorite.
That's so cool too, because now that you're talking about it, I'm like taking myself back to whenever I saw that. It's totally different than being on set, than being on your couch watching it, I will say.
Absolutely.
But let's talk about your upcoming film here in East Texas, because this is your next step here. Obviously, you started off not maybe in entertainment, now you're in entertainment, and you're continuing down the line in it. So let's talk about your upcoming film. Tell us about the story of Anderson County.
Well, Anderson County, I'll tell you real quick how I got involved in Anderson County. They had asked me to come down to Bastrop last September and share my story to actors and actresses at an actor forum, and I did. And I met two producers, and they came up and said, "You're perfect for this role." I said, "What role?" "Well, we're filming a show in East Texas called Anderson County, and you fit the role perfectly for one of our lead characters, a guy that is named Samuel Loving, and he's president of the Cattlemen's Association, ex-lawman, and long story short, here I am. I landed the role. It's been fun. We've been filming now for about, the parts that I've filmed, it's been probably 2 months. We have probably 2 more months to go. I was just here, matter of fact, Sunday, filming some scenes. True story. The first movie that's been filmed that pays tribute to fallen game wardens. True story. The game warden gets killed in 1951, and so I'm just humbled to get to be a part of that. It's written by a man named Chris Siegler and produced by Sonny Anglin, and they're out of Houston and Angleton, and it's been a fun shoot. I mean, I keep getting drawn to East Texas. I'm right in the middle of this one, and back to the Barry Corbin story. Let me back up and say, at Tractor Supply, they introduced me. One of the people introduced me to some people at Kubota, which I started doing Kubota work. The Kubota guy says, "Hey, I've got a guy out of Palestine, Justin Todd Herod, TV. He does preaching and he does prison ministry, and he'd like to do a video." Long story short, we all collaborated and did one, a faith-based inspirational called The Power of a Second Chance, which I'm living proof of the power of a second chance. We did it, and I'll be darned if it didn't win Video of the Year last year in Nashville, the ICMA's Video of the Year. So they reached back out and said, "Let's do another one." So we just finished about a month ago filming in Palestine the second one that he wrote, called Stairway to Heaven, Highway to Hell. And I'm fortunate enough to get to be in that with Barry Corbin as the good guy, and a guy out of West Texas, the world famous rattlesnake handler, a guy named Jack Bibby, who's going to be the bad guy. And they're both fighting for my soul. So again, I've been several weeks now in East Texas. I love it. Linda Wilson with TCMA, lives here, and so I'll be darned if I don't spend a lot of time in East Texas, and I love it. I love the terrain. I love the people. This has been a wonderful experience for me.
Well, let's talk about another experience. You became a spokesman for Tractor Supply. Tell me how you landed that gig.
Well, that gig, being the spokesman, after 3 commercials with them, the guy that booked me kept saying, "You need to be doing voiceover." Well, they flew me to Maine last year to shoot a commercial specifically for the Yellowstone series. So we're up there, and they said they had a sound studio. They said, put Larry in the studio. And so they liked my voice. I did the voiceover. They flew me back to Dallas, and I started doing some of the radio spots. And they finally one day said, "You're our Sam Elliott. You're our guy." So I get to do the voiceover now for their national commercials, and I usually get to be in and talk in usually two nationals a year.
Wow, that's so cool. Well, Larry, is there anything else that we might have missed here that you want our viewers to know, either about you or about your previous roles or upcoming ones?
I would just like to encourage any of the seniors out there or people that are just kind of coasting through life to take, step out of that comfort zone, try something new. I was pretty comfortable, semi-retired, had a successful business, and just getting to kick back a little bit. But I've learned that kicking back ain't always good for you. It gives me a reason to stay healthy and stay fit, and I just consider myself very lucky. And I just encourage any of your listeners that are kind of sitting on the fence or maybe afraid to try something new. No harm in trying. Get out there and try it. I'm living proof. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Of course.
And so I would just encourage your listeners to really, really think outside the box and maybe try something new.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, this was Larry Wells, from businessman to TV sheriff. And thank you so much for being here today to share your story.
Kylie, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me. This has been wonderful.
Of course.